Hi everyone, welcome back to HowTechs. Today we have another phone unboxing. We have the HTC U Ultra, which is HTC's latest flagship phone. And let's take a quick look at the box. If you're not familiar with this phone, it has a Snapdragon 821 processor, 5.7-inch Quad HD Gorilla Glass display, and it actually has a dual display, and I'll show you later on. It has a little 2-inch display on the top. Allows micro SD up to 2 terabytes, 4 gigabytes built-in RAM, 12 megapixel camera on the back, and 16 megapixel on the front, which is actually surprising. It's actually more higher res on the selfie camera. Dual SIM, fingerprint sensor, HTC's U headphones, 3D audio recording, which I'll talk a little about when I unbox, and etc, etc, etc. Qualcomm 3.0 charging, 4G LTE, etc. And this is the 64 gigabyte version. And one interesting thing on here is this, I guess, is a China version. So the color name here is Black Oil, and I've seen it on, I guess, the US version. It's called like Jet Black, and there's a couple other ones, but for some reason this one is actually called Black Oil, and we'll see if it's any different. So let's unbox this guy, and here we have the phone on top, of course, and that looks pretty black oil to me. So let's look at the box before we unwrap it. Pretty simple. It actually comes with a clear plastic case that goes on the back, and it's pretty hard, but not completely rigid. And we come with a cloth to wipe it off, because this thing does definitely smudge. And what else? We have some warranty information, etc., instructions, safety and regulatory guidelines, etc., etc. And we also have a side pocket here with the SIM tool removal tool, and then we have earbuds, USB, and this is a USB-C plug to USB-A, the normal USB. And then for the headphones, these are the U ones. Now the key thing with this is these are in-bud earphones with a USB-C connector on them, so no headphone jack, which we'll see on the phone. And last but not least, we have the power brick, and of course this is a fast charging Qualcomm charger, up to 12 volts. So we have 9 volts or 12 volts with 1.25 amps output. So this thing can definitely charge up much faster than a normal 5 volt. So there you have it, and it's, of course, it's a USB-A on that one. So that's pretty much it for the box. Let's take a look at the phone itself and get it opened up. Okay, so very carefully we're going to peel this thing off. Shows how to get the SIM card out and how to unwrap it, and of course fingerprint sensor and power key. And voila. So I guess this is black oil, not quite jet black. You can see it is quite shiny, nice mirror finish. And let's see, I haven't eaten any potato chips lately, but you can see already some smudges, actually pretty bad. So that's your life. That's why it comes with a nice case, so that you can keep the mirror finish. And we have, okay, so just to take a quick look around, we have the nice 12 megapixel back facing camera, LEDs, obviously proximity sensor. On the back we have, actually, this I believe is one of the microphone holes, and we have on the bottom, this is the lower speaker grill, USB-C connector, and then another microphone hole here. And keep in mind that there is no headphone jack on this guy, so this is just like an iPhone 7. This is what you end up using for both powering and connecting any accessories, including headphones. Okay, and then on the side here we have that power button. This one has kind of some ridges on it. And then we have volume. And then on the top we have, it's kind of hard to see because it's actually pretty slim and dark. We have a SIM tray with the hole there, and then another microphone hole. And then on this side is actually absolutely nothing, which is pretty cool. So it's completely solid. And then on the front here we have the front-facing camera, and then what looks like the light sensor, proximity sensor, and then another microphone hole. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 microphone holes, and that's what they advertise as their 3D sound recording system. So hypothetically you could have this thing, I don't know if it would have to be on a tripod or maybe face down, and you can actually record simultaneously from all 4 channels, which gives you kind of a 3D surround sound recording system. So the question is, what is that really useful for? Good question. Maybe nothing yet, but possibly in the future. Okay, so before we power this up and talk about the software, let's talk a little bit about the hardware and do some comparing. So as the flagship HTC phone, let's compare it against the flagship Samsung. This is the Galaxy S8 Plus, which is actually brand new, newer than the HTC. And then of course we have our favorite iPhone 7 Plus. So weight-wise, this guy is actually slightly lighter than both of them. This is 170 grams, this is 173, and the iPhone 7 Plus is actually significantly more. It's 188. Battery life, this is 2,900 milliamp hours on the iPhone 7. This guy is 3,000, so only 100 milliamp hours bigger. And this guy, the Samsung, is actually 3,500. So it's significantly higher and only weighs 3 more grams than this. So they managed to fit a much bigger battery in actually a slightly, pretty much the same weight phone. So definitely the Samsung has the edge of these 3 on that one, but this one, not too bad. So as far as the build quality goes, this one definitely feels as solid as either of these 2, and the quality looks quite nice. We have a metal band on the edge, we have this shiny back, although it is kind of fingerprint prone. These guys are just as bad, if not worse. So you can't really fault HTC. It's pretty much the same for everybody nowadays, especially for these black ones. So overall, pretty good quality. I like some of the features here. Definitely having no buttons on this side is just kind of a cleaner design. When we power it up, you'll see the this extra screen here. I'm kind of not so big a fan of it. Also, one complaint that a lot of people have made is this fingerprint sensor is quite small. It's actually kind of the smallest one in the market, and some people are having trouble kind of swiping it properly because it's so small. And last but not least, size-wise, let's put these guys all together. So again, we have the HTC U Ultra, the iPhone 7, and the brand new Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. And you can see the iPhone is a little bit stubbier. This guy overall is tallest I think. And then the Samsung, which has that super wide quad display that actually on the front has even smaller bezels, definitely comes out as the tallest and skinniest. Let's do a side-by-side comparison of the widths. So width-wise, they're almost exactly the same width, but the real comparison comes in for the... So if I can focus here on the edges, you can see that the iPhone 7 is a bit thinner than the HTC, and this protrusion from the camera is definitely sticks out a lot more, much more than the protrusion from the camera here on the iPhone does. And with the Samsung is definitely probably the best of them all because the camera is totally flat, and it also is as thin as the HTC, I think, or pretty much identical. You know, it's really hard to see any difference. So you know, that's the thinnest part against the thickest. The thinnest part on this one is as fat as the entire phone here, which is totally flat. So keep that in mind. Okay, so with that, let's put away these guys and power this guy up. Okay, and now we're in. That wasn't too bad. The setup wasn't too bad. We were able to skip through most of it, but it did take something like 2 minutes for it to boot up. And in this case, this phone is a Chinese edition because it prompted us to select Chinese, and luckily we were able to figure out how to switch to English without any English menus. Okay, and so let's take a look around. We have our dual display up here, and it gives a quick intro. You can see that you can get notifications, you can get different contact shortcuts, etc. Just within the phone, let's see, we have our kind of default ones built in here, and it's actually surprising. It comes with Facebook and Instagram, Facebook Messenger, etc. already installed. And so here's all of our apps. We have Android 7.0, and this is, I guess, the HTC software. So not too bad. And let's just see how the videos look. So let's go to YouTube. So here we go for a full screen video. Actually looks pretty good. Does that look familiar?
So they can connect to Pandora, they can connect to different music streaming ones. Obviously this one works with the Google Play, Amazon Prime, and other.
Speakers sound pretty decent. Not super good bass, but a little bit tinny, but not too bad. Okay, so that's the basics on the phone. Let's try out the camera a little bit. Oh, it actually warns you if you put your finger in front of the laser. So as you see, you can record video, you can pause and continue recording. You can take stills while you're recording video. And of course, zoom in and out. It's not too bad. So let's take a quick look at the settings here. So we have all kinds of different options for video, hyperlapse, slow-mo, selfie photos, etc. And let's just take a quick look at the settings, geotagging, etc., etc. Auto exposure grid on off, and we can adjust the quality here, so we can do full HD quality and high res audio on and off. We can do HD, QVGA, MMS quality, 4K, and full HD. And then as far as the camera goes, let's pull this down, and we can do the 9 megapixel, 16 by 9, 9 megapixel, 4 megapixel, 16 by 9, etc. So we can just scroll through all of these, and timer on and off, panorama, etc. And then in here we can do the same options. And in Pro, you can adjust everything, your exposure, ISO, etc., etc. That's just a basic walkthrough on the camera. Let's take a look at some of the photos. Here's some of the stills. You've got to be careful not to cover up this light sensor, otherwise the screen brightness changes. That's a little bit annoying. So overall, definitely having some trouble getting used to this. Maybe we can adjust the sensitivity of the screen on here. And it warns us again. So this is one key thing. If your fingers are covering this up, you are not covering the screen, but you are covering the sensor, so that might screw up the autofocus. Not super sharp, but we were zoomed in and it was kind of close. So one quick note with this guy, there's definitely some interface issues. It might just be a matter of getting used to it, but for example, I can swipe between pictures, in the photo gallery, but if I were to zoom this in slightly, now I can't swipe. And then, I have to kind of pinch it out and then swipe, and then even then, it might take me 2 or 3 swipes. And sometimes if I'm not quite getting it right, I can't, okay, so what the hell? So it's a little bit annoying, but I think that's just a matter of getting used to. So for example, if I want to zoom out, I've got to double tap it out all the way first and then swipe. And then if I want to zoom in, it's probably better to just double click on it and then try to adjust it, but even then it's not quite working perfectly. So there's definitely some interface issues with this. I don't know if that's the hardware or just the software. I mostly use iOS more than Android, and maybe I'm just used to the iOS interface being a little bit smoother than this one. But definitely I'm not a fan of this. So that's just a quick intro and unboxing of the HTC U Ultra. Overall, we like the exterior design. Not necessarily a big fan of this double screen here, the second screen. It does take a lot of fingerprints, and battery's okay, weight is okay, construction pretty good, the screen looks okay, and the software seems to be pretty decent, although definitely some interface issues. So there you have it. If you have any questions about the HTC U Ultra, please let us know in the comment section below, and please check out our how-to videos for the HTC U Ultra and many other popular smartphones. Thanks and bye. So I guess this is black oil, not quite jet black. You can see it is quite shiny, nice mirror finish.